So I'm back, hopefully with better audio now, and it's been a really long while. Disclaimer that isn't really needed, but I realized somewhere along the way of when life and responsibilities hit, as they always do for each person, that I always had this urge to still slowly go back to finding the motivation, the time, and the courage to continue doing some of the things that I still love to do and finish the things that I always intended to see through. And so, one of the New Year's resolutions I made this year was to finally see this series actually finish as a series for whoever might still need it out there. There's still a lot of things that I had really planned to share. Hopefully, this could still help you in your journey, whoever you may be and wherever point you may be in life. So yeah, I'm just happy to pick back up where I left off. And I just wanted to say to the people, whether few or far or many in between, who still keep sending me little bits of support every day, whether that be like a message or like a comment or somebody going like, hey, when will you finish? I want to say thank you. And I even realized that there were like a good few that were like, I think when I went back to check on them the other day, just recently, I saw that they were like taken away from the inbox. I don't know how it works. But maybe they were archived or so for it being like a certain period of time there. So I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go back to it. And if I can still find it, then I'll slowly go through them as well. But actually, and this is one of the things that I just wanted to cover here before diving straight back into the next topics that I had. I actually did stall for a bit because I had been planning something that I finally got to finish. And so it's like, as a person who quote unquote loves organization, even if most of the time we aren't organized, we're a mess. I did love some resources and some things that I had used during my journey. And so these were things that I prepared. Call it templates, if you will, or like little materials, but I probably would term it as something like a little study kit that I'm offering and that I wanted to put in place in case this might help anyone or in case anyone might be interested. So I'll probably leave like a picture or a link here and also down below. And feel free to reach out to me if ever this is something that you might be interested in. That's something that might help you in your journey. Just to give a little preview into it. So I prepared this like study kit, which has on one side the theory of specifications laid out nicely in an organized manner. So if you don't know what the theory of specifications or the TOS is, this is basically the backbone of your entire review. So if you don't know it yet, it's okay. I actually didn't know about the TOS at all until I got to like fourth year. Guilty. But if you are reviewing now and you don't know this, you need to know this. So it's given by the commission and it's in this PDF file. And when I was reviewing, because you have to know what topics would come out, there's supposedly the weight and the percentages of each topic and how many questions more or less would come from this. Though they don't always follow it strictly to the number every time. And though I personally don't even monitor it, this is really something that you need to go over just because, and I say this always because you need to know what topics you need to cover. And for me, as the kind of studier I am, maybe this might help you. I really would prefer if I could like lay out all of the things I need to cover. Because for the review season and especially for the board exam, you need to do cover to cover of the topics. And so we just want to avoid a scenario in which you're like a few months or God forbid, a few weeks left into the review, and you're realizing for the first time that there are some of these topics that are included that you hadn't known of because they're just small topics, maybe 1 to 2 or 5 questions at most would come from this, but they do still carry weight. And more often than not, those are the questions that we stumble over. I think I'm guilty of that. So yeah, I have prepared this TOS that has a tracker as well. So you could also put in the status of it and you can see your progress coming through the months and the weeks and the days of your study. And on the other side, I also have this little like organization tool. This makes me happy because it's something that really helped me. I do love digital learning and by extension that extends to digital materials. So I think this was like a natural byproduct of all of that. And I hope that it's at least being put to efficient and good utility. So this organization tool is like kind of like my master file that I used. So it's got this template that I prepared for a calendar. It's one of my non-negotiables wherein you list what you would like to do, or at least you could plan out your week or your month ahead of time. And then it's also got this pre-boards tracker. Now I would say that you should track your pre-boards. My pre-boards were a mess, very honestly speaking. So it was kind of funny. And if I look at my record data, I'd probably laugh at it going back. But this template for the pre-boards is where you could like list the scores that you had, whatever rankings for the subjects throughout your first pre-boards, your final pre-boards, as well as any mock pre-boards that you just want to take on your own. So it's essentially like a progress and a history tracker for all of the exams that you hope to take. For me, honestly, it didn't give me that much insight because my scores kept fluctuating. Like one day I would like do well in tax. It would be my first. The next day tax would be my lowest, and my FAR was going all over the place in zigzags. But if I did gain one insight from tracking my pre-boards, it was figuring out that the subject I probably needed the most work in was always RFBT. So yes. So hopefully this might help you whether you want to track it or not. At least you could see a list of your scores in a nice, organized, and color-coded way. And aside from the pre-board tracker, I do have this topic schedule tracker as well. This was helpful for me as a person who was enrolled in a review center because I had aligned my study with the review center's topics. So I laid out their week by week schedule, and so I got to plot there which topics I wanted to handle this week and in the subsequent weeks to also align with the pre-board schedule that came for first and for final pre-boards. So those three essentially are the main things that I use. Really helped me. It's really all about the basics, the stuff you need to know. One, what your time is, how you're going to manage your time in your days. It doesn't have to be jam-packed with activity. You don't have to study from morning till night. More often than not, that's probably not going to be productive, but at least you have an outline of how you should go about your days and you know what you need to tackle and what you need to get done by the certain time. The second thing is about knowing what the content, the substance of your day is, about what you're going to be tackling. And in line with that is the TOS, wherein you need to know all of the things that you need to cover. And that ties in with the pre-boards tracker, wherein finally applying those things, applying your time management, applying the concepts you've learned, and putting that into exams that we all eventually have to take. That's where you can track your history, that's where you can track your progress. And honestly, it's really just all about learning the parts in which you can improve in day by day. That was the whole review season for me. I still lack in a lot of ways, I really do. But again, as I mentioned, there's nothing like finding the motivation, the time, and the courage to just look at the things that you can control in your life and find ways to improve that bit by bit, day by day. And it's also just about acknowledging who you are, also accepting yourself for where you lack, and not really beating yourself up over that, but just turning it into fuel or turning it into a challenge to achieve the things that you want to do on your own terms, in your own time, and of course, in line with the Lord's plan. Lastly, some people had been asking this and whether you might still need it or not. I am finally finished with putting all of my notes together. And so I'm also offering these notes that I have in certain mediums and forms with which I am comfortable with and with which I will come to see if I'll be expanding or not. So those are my hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears-filled notes for FAR, for a FAR, Mass, Audit, RPT, and Tax, which is also what I'll be finally going over in the next videos. And so I'll just include that also in the link below. And again, you can reach out to me if you're interested in this and if you'd want to avail of it. So yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm really happy to finally find the headspace to do this. I'm hoping to still reach out to people who might need help, who might be benefited by some of the things that I could share. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.